Good going, SpongeBob. That looks mighty functional, unlike my family.
Just gonna leave you with that.
His wife was always supportive. What now? Is that enough stuff? Can we take off now? Please, please?
Sorry, SpongeBob, it ain't that simple. The bird ain't fixed up yet. There's an inventor lives nearby. You should talk to him.
Yeah, here's part 2 of Fix the Plane adventure. But first, I'm going to pick up points, because that is who I am. I do have another thing to talk about regarding my dad. Don't worry, it doesn't have to do with his genitals. Can you imagine not seeing the last video and just hearing this and being like, what the fuck were you talking about in the last one? Anyway. This is a more wholesome one, and it has to do with SpongeBob, which is why I bring it up. I don't think I've ever talked about it, but yeah, when I was a kid, I was very good at memorizing SpongeBob episodes word for word. And it wasn't even really a concerted effort. It was just one of those things. I have a decent long-term memory, like, of storing and recalling information, if you can believe it. But, like, that's how I learned, like, being able to name all the Best Picture winners. People are like, wow, how'd you do that? And it was like, I just kept looking at the list just because, you know, I'm trying to guess the Oscars, so I'm looking at the list, and so I just become familiar with it, and, you know, you line it up in your head. And like, after a while, you just hear a year, and you immediately think of that movie, so, yeah, I mean, it was just a matter of I watched SpongeBob all the time. I owned the first 3 seasons on DVD, and I loved watching them, and so I would fucking, just know all of the lines. And so this impressed my dad, as well as people at school. And so sometimes my dad, and he liked SpongeBob, he thought SpongeBob was funny, but he didn't always love sitting and watching it. He thought it was more novel that I could recite them, and so I would do that when I was a little kid for my dad. I mean, I'm probably like talking 5 to 7 years old at this point. And I don't know, it's a little embarrassing, it's a little silly and corny, but and I would be embarrassed by it now, but I don't know, looking back, I think it's cute. it's a nice memory. It was something that I could hang out with my dad doing, and you know, it's nice to be seen as impressive in some way. I don't really get to have that feeling anymore now, because when you're a kid, yeah, you do something like that where you can just, you know, you're really good at spelling, or you can read good, you know, just general life skills that you're moderately better than a normal child at, as I was. Then, you know, you get some praise. And then you grow up and you realize that those are really the only things that you are interested in doing or are very good at, and most of your skills aren't, you know, marketable or really useful in a workplace. I guess, like, reading comprehension, especially for the job I have now, like typing and spelling, is actually important. And sitting on the computer, having a lot of just general experience being on a computer and knowing how to identify and, you know, notice and fix problems if you need to because you're using a computer system. Yeah, like, I guess that is cool, but, I don't know. You know what I mean. It's the predicament, I wasn't in this group, but it's the predicament of the gifted student, as I call it. It's, you know, when you're a kid and you're good at English or math or something, I think there's a certain subset of people who, not because they're like pieces of shit or because they don't know how, but just because it's not really what they want, they don't really expand past that, or they only really expand those sorts of skills. I don't know. I hope people get what I'm saying. I don't know, because I don't even know sometimes. Alright, I'm just making sure I didn't miss any cool secrets, and why was this necessary? Why'd you have to ruin my fun like this?
This world is full of intrigue and wonderment.
That it is, Bob. That it is. It would be really cool if the camera wouldn't fucking do that every time. Am I supposed to know what that did? Now I'm bitching that they're not doing cutscenes for everything. I guess I just have to hit multiple ones of these and then I'll be good. I don't really know the intended way I'm supposed to do this. Oh. Almost fell off into the goo. I love how this has no texture whatsoever. It's just a big, flat purple mass. Like, they didn't even bother animating goo for this part. I'm hopping. But yeah, I loved watching SpongeBob. I mean, I still do. I don't do it as often. Oh, did it take me all the way back? Oh, there was other shit in there that I wanted.
I guess that's 2 more to go, huh?
Fucking damn it. I didn't know it was gonna do that. I wanted the other points. I mean, I got the Sleepy Sea. That's the important part. Can I go back in? God, this sucks. Are these gonna give me points? Yes. They should all give you points. I'm gonna write... If they ever remake this game, they have many really easy fixes, in my opinion. They should also have... If they do remake this game, they should, fucking... What am I talking about? Oh, they should add Sandy and Squidward and maybe Mr. Krabs as they're having their own dream sections. Maybe that'll be a little bit much. Also, just like make the story so that it matters that it's dreams. Or don't make it dreams. Just make it, you know, you play as different characters in this intertwining story thing with crazy stuff like giant Krabby Patties and planes and Alaskan bullworms and racing and stuff. But I mean, I guess then you wouldn't get the, Is the Sleepy Seed, should I know where it is? Okay. There she is. Alright, I'm being a big dumbass. That's pretty perfect strat right there, running into him, because your reset time is about the same as theirs. And I love how they have to stay suspended in death animation while you watch the cutscene about the thing happening. Oh, hell yeah. Eat 'em up. Yum yum. I love slurping up those points. That was really worth it. Alright. Let's see what's going on back here. Alright. Do I, like, need to do this to get up there, or does it just make the points appear? Because I appreciate the points, no doubt. No doubt, no doubt. Hell yeah. That was a Parks and Rec quote, by the way, if you didn't know, that no doubt. One of many such sort of things that I think are funny. Like, of that type of line. It reminds me of the line in This Is the End, like toward the beginning, where they first meet Jonah Hill, and Jay is telling him just what they did at the house, and he says that they smoked a bunch of weed, and Jonah goes, "Weed is tight, weed is tight." That's a good one. That's a pretty good movie, by the way. If you've ever never seen it, I recommend it. Can you get out of my fucking way? I'm trying to hit this guy. Jesus Christ. Alright, now, there's gotta be some other bullshit in here that I didn't get yet. right? Oh my god, I'm so low on health. What the fuck am I doing? How do I regenerate health? I don't even really know how to do it. Oh, I guess it just happens at the beginning of everything. I've never actually paid attention to that. Just sometimes you have more hits. Usually the only way that I die in this game is because I fall off of something or whatever. Nice. Triple boogie. Holy crap. You guys aren't a power cell. Very observant. Yeah, I feel like this game could stand to be remade more than Battle for Bikini Bottom could. I mean, I like that they're doing it because I really am hoping that, just with the exception of the additional levels that didn't make it into the original game, I'm hoping that it's mostly just a remaster. Like, I don't really want them to change all that much. Okay, so let's collect the points before we get the thing, because it's going to teleport me all the way back to the beginning. And then weirdly touch it. And why is everything weird in this game?
Here for.
Just think, if you find that last power cell, I can activate my all-time greatest invention. You just wait, it's awesome.
Can you tell that the punchline of the joke is gonna be that the thing that the machine does is really not that miraculous, but... I wasn't gonna say miraculous, I was gonna say spectacular, but it works either way. But that he just wanted to do it before you could go, and there was really nothing stopping you from going. If you think that's where it's going, place your bets now, because you're right. The plane? I mean, yeah, if you need wings and a rudder, that's really all that you need. Fuck. Oh, I touched the big purple rectangle. Or, I guess more of an amorphous blob. But anyway, yeah, I was gonna say, this is the end, I think, is a pretty... I won't say it's underrated, necessarily, because I don't really know, like, how people think of it, generally. And, I mean, it is just kind of a dumb comedy. Like, I don't think it's a brilliant movie or anything, but... Excuse me, I do think it deserves some credit. More credit than most sort of Apatow-style comedies, because... I'm not at all the first person to make this observation. In fact, the only reason that I really think about it at all is because of the very famous Every Frame a Painting video about it, which you should watch, and you should watch all of Tony's videos, where he talks about how American comedy films, modern comedy films, most of which take on the sort of Apatow aesthetic, they don't really do anything with the filmmaking to be funny, or even, I mean, to tell the story, in that filmmaking always is telling the story. But, you know what I mean, like, it's not driving the filmmaking isn't driving the movie forward, and it's mostly just, in his words, lightly edited improv, where they have an outline of where the scene needs to end up, and then they just let comedic actors kind of, you know, do the general lines, but also riff on each other. And usually they go on for a little longer than usual, but most of all, it just results in a lot of, like, back and forth shots, and just a lot of filmmaking where it's just putting the camera in front of people and having them do a little comedy routine, rather than a comedy movie which utilizes not just the dialogue and characters, but the actual like, performances and presentation in forming the comedy and in telling the story. He gives Edgar Wright as an example of a modern director who sort of bucks that trend, and I agree with all of that. But I think This Is the End mostly makes up for that. I don't think it has that problem. It certainly has the riffing thing where there are scenes where they just kind of point a camera and let people go at it, but there are, obviously, it has kind of bigger genre ambitions with all of the demon and apocalypse shit, obviously, but also I think just because of the story that it's actually telling, it having that aesthetic of an Apatow, of a normal Apatow movie in a lot of scenes, as juxtaposed with the genre stuff, the crazy demon stuff. I don't think it's any secret that the movie is supposed to be like a satire of them, and specifically of like Hollywood comedy figures and Hollywood celebrities and all of that. And so, you know, the use of that aesthetic and the use of that approach, it makes it a little bit different. It makes that choice a little more inspired than just like, okay, so in this scene, you're breaking up with your boyfriend, and you need to say these lines, but otherwise just do whatever you want. And then they point the camera at Paul Rudd, and they point the other camera at Leslie Mann, and they just kind of go to town. It's a little bit different than that, and I appreciate it for that. I also appreciate it just because, juvenile as it is, I think it's funny. You know, I mean, Satan himself getting his cock cut off by a beam of light while a Whitney Houston song plays is humorous to me, as is Seth Rogen and James Franco arguing about cum. And I'm not like a gigantic fan of either of them necessarily. I mean, I think Seth Rogen is funny as a guy, like in interviews and stuff. I think he's a cool person and seems like a nice enough dude. I'm gonna get pissed on by this thing. Shit. Alright, do I have to sit through the cutscene again? Of course. Well, it's not a cutscene, but this fucking forced perspective, and then a cutscene. Alright, let's try this again. I'll stop talking about Seth Rogen and shit. But yeah, I love everything he does. I think some of it is a little one-note, a little half-assed, but I think he's been funny before. He's made good movies before. And like I said, I think as an actual dude, he seems cool enough.
Last one! I've never been happier!
And what's even better, this one didn't zap me. Look, it's completely harmless.
Now you'll see the power of my greatest invention of all time ever! Watch in awe, SpongeBob SquarePants!
Ooh. What to do?
It makes the perfect cup of...
Can I have my plane back now?
SpongeBob's like, fuck your bullshit. You had to think about it? I didn't just do all that shit for nothing.
Why not try spinning with both arms to move the crane faster?
I'm hitting L and R. And I didn't need to do it on that one. But I was hitting L and R that whole time when it was hovering over the other one.
In the buckets.
And yeah, I'm fairly certain there's supposed to be music in this section, but... I don't know. Maybe I'm just remembering wrong. Not much to say here. Pretty straightforward stuff. Could really use some music. This is really just... Everything moves very slowly otherwise. Gotta get those Z's, boy. Nice. Alright, there's a few more. This hurts my fucking palms to be holding the controller so that I can hold L and R but also be rotating the control stick. But whatever, looks like we're gonna be getting our goal. And I'll move this over even though it won't go in time. Okay, I guess a little bit it did. Alrighty, so that's that. More Bullworm stuff is coming in the next video, so I will see you then.